Junha paced the cramped kitchen of the Golden Spoon late into the evening, his tired eyes darting toward the bedside drawer where the coin now lay hidden. The noodle shop had emptied out for the night, the scent of freshly made broth and dough still lingering in the air as his mother scrubbed the tables methodically. Junha's fists clenched. The events of the last 2 days felt like a spiral he couldn't escape. The golden coin, glimmering in its strange, ancient design, seemed to weigh more than it physically should, as if it dragged invisible threads of destiny that latched onto him like steel chains. The man with silver hair haunted him most. His voice, cryptic yet commanding, echoed in Junha's thoughts like a riddle he couldn't solve. The bearer of that coin is marked by fate. What fate? And what punishment had this man warned about? What had Junha done to attract powers he didn't ask for and couldn't control? Junha, Ji-won's gentle voice cut through his haze, pulling him back to the room. She stood at the doorway, wringing a damp cloth in her hands. Her quiet concern struck a chord deeper than she likely knew. You've been strange these past few nights. Restless. What's troubling you? Junha winced, guilt twisting in his gut. He wanted to tell her about the stranger, the glowing coin, and the flashes of chaotic energy. But how could he explain something that didn't make sense to him? Ji-won was his anchor, but some burdens were meant to be carried alone. At least for now. It's nothing, Mum, he lied, forcing the faintest of smiles. Just tired. I'll head upstairs. She didn't press him, but her lingering gaze bore into him as though peeling layers of armor he desperately clung to. Finally, she nodded and returned to her work, letting Junha escape up to his cramped room above the shop. Inside, the coin's glow pierced the dark like an accusing eye the moment he slid open the drawer. He couldn't keep running from it, not anymore. Junha grabbed the tarnished disc, staring at its intricate patterns that swirled and pulsed when his skin touched its surface. The strange warmth it radiated sent shivers up his arm. It wasn't just metal. It was alive. "Why did you choose me?" he murmured to the empty room, his voice trembling. The patterns shimmered brighter, and soon Junha's room began to warp and blur. His walls stretched impossibly far, twisting like echoes in a dream. The faint hum grew into a deafening rumble until Junha's body wasn't standing in his shop anymore. He landed somewhere vast and alien. Junha stumbled forward, his shoes scraping against stone. The air around him hung heavy, vibrating with power. The sky above wasn't a normal sky. It was streaked with fiery bands of orange and gold, like molten rivers carving through darkness. Stars didn't flicker in clusters. Instead, they burned singularly bright, scattered across the sky like isolated lanterns, each bursting with an aura Junha could feel in his chest. In all directions, Junha saw towering pillars, giant monuments carved from crystal. They reached high enough to pierce the horizon, glowing faintly with inscriptions of the same swirling designs etched into the coin he now clutched tightly. His wide eyes darted around the strange world, overwhelmed by its scale yet eerily quiet. "What is this place?" he whispered, his words dissolving like smoke in the charged air. A sharp voice answered suddenly, chilling and familiar. "Welcome, bearer." Junha whirled around to face the silver-haired man. His mysterious guide, now cloaked in darker robes, standing atop a jagged ledge overlooking the gleaming expanse. Unlike their previous meeting, his presence now felt even more foreboding, his amber gaze pinning Junha to the spot with raw intensity. "I told you we'd meet at the turning point," the man said, his lips curling into a smirk. "Fate does not wait for the unwilling." "Fate for what?" Junha demanded, anger overtaking his fear. "You keep saying this coin chose me. But why me? I didn't ask for it. I don't want any part of this." The stranger tilted his head in amusement, his silvery hair falling effortlessly over his shoulder as he descended slowly from the ledge. "The coin chose you not for what you are now, Junha, but for what you're destined to become." Junha flinched, confusion and frustration colliding within him. "You keep saying that, but you don't explain anything. Who are you? What does this coin even do? What am I supposed to become?" The man folded his arms behind his back, letting the silence stretch unnervingly before answering. His words, when they finally came, were haunting in their simplicity. "You are meant to be the coin's wielder, the vessel through which it draws power. But power is fragile when left unchecked, Junha. It molds itself to the heart of the bearer. That's why it chose you. A heart pulled between shadow and light. The stranger's voice lowered, his gaze hardening. What you do with the coin will shape the path ahead, for yourself, for others, and most dangerously, for the balance held between realms, and to wield it, you must be tested. Tested? Jun-ha echoed, his voice shaking. The coin in his grip began to pulsate violently as the crystal pillars around them flashed brighter, each inscribed rune glowing with impossible intensity. Your first test has already begun, the man said coldly, his form starting to shimmer like light breaking through cracks in glass. Find the coin's twin before it finds you, fail, and everything you know, everything you've lived for, will crumble. The world warped again. Junha staggered back as the eerie expanse dissolved, his feet planting firmly on the wooden floor of his bedroom. Sweat poured down his face as he gasped for breath. He opened his palm to stare at the coin, its glow now faint, but still alive. The stranger's ominous words rattled in his mind. Find the coin's twin before it finds you. How could his life, his mother's quiet noodle shop and late-night dumpling wrapping, have led to this moment? He had no answers, but something inside him burned now, a strange resolve, lit by the spark of fear and survival. A faint knock on the door startled him. Jun-ha, Ji-won's gentle voice floated softly. Are you all right in there? His knuckles whitened against the coin, his mind spinning. He couldn't tell her, couldn't pull her into the chaos that now surrounded him, so he swallowed the truth and replied simply, Yeah, Mom, I'm fine. Just thinking. But as his mother's footsteps retreated down the hall, Jun-ha knew he couldn't waste time thinking. Not anymore. Whatever test that stranger warned of, whatever twin he was meant to find, was already moving to unfold. As Jun-ha tucked the coin carefully back into his pocket, a quiet ripple of energy surged through the air. He didn't know how or when, but he did know one thing. The turning point was coming, and this time there would be no running. To be continued. Jun-ha's journey grows darker with every test of destiny. What lies ahead in his search for the coin's twin? What forces will shape his choices? Stay tuned for the next chapter as the mystery deepens.